Let's talk about Uranus. That planet way out there, just shrouded in mystery. I mean, this is a place so bizarre that scientists think it literally rains diamonds. It's a world of extremes for sure. But as wild as the planet is, the real untold story today is about the strange and mysterious worlds that circle it. And here's something that'll bake your noodle. Even though Neptune is farther from the sun, Uranus is somehow colder. It's the coldest planet in the whole solar system. But we're not actually here to talk about the planet itself. No, today we are taking a journey to its equally fascinating and mysterious moons.
And it turns out there are more of them than you might think. With some recent discoveries, the official head count is now up to 29 moons orbiting this ice giant. And each one is like its own little world, a unique piece of a much, much bigger puzzle.
Okay, so scientists kind of break these 29 moons down into three main groups to make sense of it all. You've got the inner moons, these little potato-shaped things that are huddled up really close to the planet. Then, way out there, you have the irregular moons, zipping around in these wild, chaotic orbits. But the real stars of our show today are the 5 major moons. For the longest time, centuries, these 5 worlds were just blurry little dots in our best telescopes. We knew they existed, but that was about it. We had no clue what they actually looked like. And then everything changed. One heroic spacecraft, Voyager 2, did a flyby and gave us our very first, and to this day, our only close-up look at these worlds.
So, let's start our tour, and we're going to begin with the smallest and innermost of the major moons. And honestly, it's by far the weirdest one. Meet Miranda.
You have to imagine the scene when those first images of Miranda started coming back from Voyager 2. Scientists were just stunned. I mean, what they were looking at was, to put it lightly, the ugliest, most cobbled-together, bizarre-looking moon they had ever laid eyes on. It really did look less like a planet and more like a cosmic Frankenstein's monster. And this is where it gets really, really strange. Miranda looks like it's made of 2 completely different moons that were just smashed together. On one side, you have these dark, ancient, crater-pocked surfaces. We're talking 4 billion years old as the solar system itself. And then, right next to that, you have these bright, much younger surfaces from only about 100 million years ago. That's when dinosaurs were roaming the Earth. So, how is that even possible? Well, the leading theory is every bit as dramatic as the moon looks. The idea is that billions of years ago, something huge must have slammed into Miranda, just shattering it into a cloud of rubble. Then, over time, gravity slowly pulled all those pieces back together. But it didn't put them back right. They reassembled all jumbled up, with heavy chunks from the core ending up on the surface, and lighter surface pieces getting buried deep inside. It's a world that was literally turned inside out.
All right, next up we've got a pair of moons, Ariel and Umbriel. They're about the same size, but as you're about to see, they are total polar opposites in pretty much every single way.
It's a classic tale of 2 siblings, On one side, you have Ariel. It's the brightest of the big moons, and it seems to be geologically active, maybe even alive in a planetary sense. And on the other side, you have its sibling, Umbriel, the darkest of the moons. It's geologically dead, basically a zombie world.
Now, the evidence for Ariel being active is pretty compelling. Voyager 2 saw what looked like ice volcanoes. Yep, volcanoes that erupt super cold ice instead of hot lava, spewing stuff out at a mind-numbing -180 Celsius. And more recently, by studying it from afar, we've spotted gases that strongly suggest there's liquid water churning just below that icy crust. And just to put this into perspective, if that subsurface ocean on Ariel is real, estimates suggest it could be a staggering 170 kilometers deep. I mean, for comparison, the deepest part of Earth's Pacific Ocean is only about 4 kilometers. We could be talking about an unbelievable amount of water hidden away on this little moon. And then there's Umbriel. It is the exact opposite. There are no new surfaces, no hint of ice volcanoes, nothing. Just this dark, ancient landscape completely covered in craters that have just been sitting there, undisturbed, for 4 billion years. It's a silent, dark, and seemingly lifeless world. But there is one tiny detail that just doesn't fit. On this uniformly dark and dead-looking world, Voyager 2 saw something that made no sense. A single, brilliantly bright spot. It's inside a feature they call the Wunda crater. It's this super reflective patch of material right at the bottom of a big crater, and it shines like a beacon against the dark surface. And you want to know the craziest part? To this day, we have absolutely no idea what it's made of or how it got there.
a lonely little mystery on a dead world.
All right, now it's time to meet the heavyweights of the Uranian system. Let's talk about the two biggest moons, Titania and Oberon. So first up is Titania, Uranus's largest moon, and this is a world that is just defined by its epic scale. Voyager 2 saw these enormous canyon systems scarring its surface. I mean, these things are so vast that our own Grand Canyon would basically be a little ditch by comparison. And, just like Ariel, we've detected CO2 here, which hints that Titania might also be hiding a massive subsurface ocean, maybe 100 kilometers deep. And finally, we get to Oberon. And if Titania's story is all about sheer scale, Oberon's story is all about violence. Its surface tells a very clear story of a brutal, violent past. This place is just absolutely covered in craters.
Seriously, it looks like someone took an asteroid machine gun to it. The largest of all these impact scars, a crater they named Hamlet, is a colossal 206 kilometers wide. This is an ancient world that has just taken a relentless beating over billions and billions of years.
So here's the real kicker, the most important thing to remember. Everything we know, all these amazing images, all these bizarre mysteries, they all come from a single brief flyby that happened decades ago. Voyager 2 only saw one side of these moons. That means there is an entire other half to each of these 5 worlds that no human has ever seen. It makes you wonder, right? What other secrets are they hiding out there in the dark?